Hi, this is Devi. I am a career coach at New Leaf Coaching and Consulting, and you can find these videos, blogs, interviews with experts on career change and social enterprise at www.mynewleaf.co.uk. Today I'm going to talk to you about not waiting for a crisis before you begin your career change. I've seen this so many times. The most common reason actually that people make a career change is if something has happened to them that kind of gives them a push. Very often it's that they've been made redundant, and it gives them time and space and scope to question what's really important to them. And it also means that there isn't that job on the other side of the fence to stay in and to kind of keep them staying where they were. They're forced to move. There are of course other reasons people encounter crises in their lives that get them questioning what's really important to them. It could be a bereavement, there could be an illness of yourself or somebody who's close to you, or there could be some kind of financial loss. Whatever it is for you, there are reasons why actually a crisis time may not be the best time for you to make a career change. And let's look at what some of those are. And I'm going to do a comparison of making a career change without a crisis and with a crisis, and then you can see the difference. The first thing is that in a crisis there's often an urgency to really just deal with something. So for example, if you've been made redundant, you want to get a job because you have to pay your mortgage, support your family, whatever it is. There's a need to get it sorted. And sometimes for some people that gets them jumping back into another job that doesn't really suit them, or perhaps even a job that's even worse than the one they were made redundant for. And what that means is that you don't have the time to explore, to consider, to really take the risk of going for what's really important to you. Whereas if there's no crisis, you've got the time to look inside, you've got the time to look outside at what's out there, you've got the time to build relationships and make connections, and you've got the time to make a plan and develop your path towards that change. Another thing about changing career during a crisis or just after a crisis is that you're probably dealing with the emotional after effects of the crisis itself, and you may be in turmoil emotionally, and sometimes that makes it very difficult to really pick out what is important to you. You may feel like just feeling better is the biggest driver, and of course that will come over time anyway, and some deeper, more fundamental values ongoing to you may want to be expressed, but they haven't got to look in the midst of your crisis. Whereas planning a career change when you're not in the midst of a crisis allows you to go deep. What's missing in your life? What's really important to you? How do you build that in? So those are two of the reasons that changing career in a crisis may not be the best thing. And it's quite difficult to make a change very often when you're not in the midst of a crisis, because you may have a secure job, it may not be perfect, it may be making you feel a bit yucky each day, but basically you go in, you've got colleagues that you work with, you're paying the bills, there's a familiarity about it. I'll say that again, there's a familiarity about it. It's the old better the devil you know syndrome. And yet, it's just like investing in the stock market. You know how people say that when the market is high, that's not when you should invest, that's when everyone's optimistic and that's when everyone starts investing, but actually that's what comes before the market starts to go down, and it's when the market is low, that's when you invest. And when the market is, you feel least like it because things seem fine, that's when you need to go and start making your plan. That gives the opportunity, it gives you the time, it also gives you the legitimacy because you're not approaching employers seeming desperate. So make yourself a plan now so that you have the choice and the chances. Now, having said all that, If you are in the middle of a crisis, if you have been made redundant, if there's something that's happened in your life that has thrown up a need to deal with this now, of course there's opportunity there too. The thing is, actually, there's always opportunity, there's always possibility, there's always scope. What I really encourage you not to do is sit there feeling that you can't. So if that's where you are, find somebody to help you, do some research, ask yourself the question, what do I need to get myself ready? But don't leave it. Thanks very much for listening. This is Devi Clark. You can find out more about me at www.mynewleaf.co.uk.